So hello everyone, welcome back to a brand new series on my channel. Over these first 3 episodes we're going to be building Venice Beach as a one-to-one recreation. This series, inspired by Los Angeles, is going to be heavily detailed and we'll be recreating lots of interesting and unique locations throughout. Now if you've been following me for a while, you'll know this build has been a long time in the works and has needed a lot of mods and custom assets to achieve this. But I hope you enjoy, there's some really great builds and new techniques coming up. But if you are new to the channel, now is also a great time to subscribe. So join me and follow along as we start a Los Angeles series in Cities Skylines 2. Alongside this series, I've also created over 200 decals and surfaces, which will all be released over the next couple of weeks. The first 3 packs are available right now on PDX Mods, so go and download them. All of these assets have been created specifically for this series, so make sure you watch till the end to see the assets in more detail. We've also recently hit 10,000 subs here on YouTube, so just want to take a moment to say thanks for all of the support this year. Also, consider leaving a like and comment if you enjoy the video. Your engagement really does help with the algorithm. You can also support me over on Patreon if you enjoy what I do. So why Los Angeles? Well, if you've been following me on Twitter long enough, you'll know this is not my first time building LA. This is also not my first time building Venice. This was a project I was working on back in Cities Skylines. This city provides so much inspiration to me, and from a build point of view, there's just so much diversity and interesting places to build. So Venice is a vibrant and iconic neighbourhood in Los Angeles. The city's famous beach is a playground for both surfers and skateboarders, and the birthplace of modern skateboarding. Venice is also home to Muscle Beach, an outdoor gym where fitness enthusiasts train against a backdrop of palm trees and ocean views. The iconic boardwalk is a bustling hub of activity, featuring street performers, eclectic shops and art. However, Venice also faces significant challenges. Venice suffers from high crime rate, and the area has a homeless crisis, with many individuals living on the beach or in makeshift encampments. Across these next 3 episodes, we're going to try and capture all of this into our builds as we recreate Venice in Cities Skylines 2. So this is a brand new map by the talented AmiPolizeiFunk of real-world Westside Los Angeles. This is available right now on PDX Mods. Also shout out to Teddy Radico who built this awesome intersection on the map. The map has some real cool features, such as these golf courses. The mountains also come out so realistic. Being able to import real world data now is just such an improvement on the mountains we had in CS1. The highway leads to Santa Monica and the starting tile for your city. The land is all pretty flat to build onto. Then as we head down the coast, we will be building Venice in its real world location. And of course we have plenty of palm trees on the map, which is just a must for LA. Some interesting spots this side of the map like the Venice Canals, Marina del Rey and the Bologna wetlands. So please go and check out the map on PDX Mods. Make sure you also give Ami a like and follow while you're there. Another cool addition is that I believe this map will also be released with an image overlay of the area, which helps to build the city 1:1 scale. To do this, we need the image overlay mod by Algonon, and in settings we can activate the overlay and have this awesome reference. Okay, so let's talk about the series. So how's this all going to work? So whilst we are starting off with a 1:1 recreation for Venice, look, I'm not going to be doing all of LA 1:1, it's just too big. Not even quite sure if we're going to be building a proper city quite yet, at least not in the traditional way. Being totally honest with you, I might not even end up staying on this map long term. I do have bigger plans for this series, which will include a wider region, but that's something for future me to figure out. But in the immediate future, I do have plans for what I'd like to do next on this map. So you may be wondering, why the heck are you using dev mode and where are all your thumbnails for assets? Well, I did say I've been working on this build for a rather long time, so these first 3 episodes for the series for Venice, it's going to span quite a number of months, during which the game has obviously changed quite a lot. We'll be starting off initially all the way back in the Thunderstore days. Yes, before Move It, before decals, before surfaces, before we had thumbnails, right up until more recent times, and we'll be utilising all of the amazing new mods we have. So episode 1 is it's going to be a little chill. Part of me does want to dive into all of the crazy detailing now. But first up, we do need to establish a small town and get things functioning. I do keep detailing to a minimum at this stage. But we will finish off the episode with a bit of a time jump to quite recently, with all of the mods and assets we have available now, and we'll do a few more unique and interesting builds within the town. We will be saving the build of the beach for episode 2, a lot of which was recorded in the final days before PDX Mods arrived. This was my first build really utilising the extra mods and assets. Episode 3 then is more recent times. We're really going hard with the detailing in this episode, using all the amazing new mods and assets we have available to create a true representation of Venice. I hope each episode will get better and better, especially on the detailing side. We really see the builds come together as I create something very close to real life. So something I noticed when looking at Google Earth is the size of the buildings in Venice. We don't have any skyscrapers or even many mid-sized apartment blocks here, so we really need to keep tall buildings to a minimum. The buildings are also very congested, there's not much room around the properties, and the style of each home is also very diverse. They all feel pretty unique. So I do try out a few different building types. You've seen me using a lot of the row homes, but the medium density and the mixed housing will need to be used more sparingly. And there's also a number of signature buildings which will also fit in well. For the most part, a lot of this town is mostly just a backdrop for the beach. In places, I am trying to match up some scenes to their real life counterparts, such as with this hotel here. Okay, so this is a bit of a version 1 for the buildings on the main boardwalk, but look, in episode 3, most of this is going to get a huge renovation. I really want a lot of commercial premises along the strip, but for the most part, there isn't quite the right sizes for commercial. They're either super low 1-story buildings or mid to high rise buildings, so we're just going to have to create our own, even if just visually. So you may remember me introducing you to storefront props back in my elevator to train station build just a few months ago. Well, this was actually my first ever time using them. I do think this was pretty awesome at the time. This was back in January. Obviously now, with the mods we have, so much more is possible. That's the reason I end up redoing most of this. But I think there's still some cool little builds that will help you see the progression of the entire build. But as a lot of this will end up going, I will try and speedrun us through it. Okay, so the timeline has progressed a little at this stage in the footage. I'm not sure when exactly, but this is when Find Stuff back on Front Store introduced all of the vanilla billboards, all of the custom brands. I remember being so excited by this at the time. Even now, these really help add so much to the realism of the city. But for the most part, this is an early version of the Venice town complete, and at least functioning properly at this stage. As I mentioned, a lot of this front boardwalk is going to change, including most of the buildings. But for now, we're going to stay building in the town itself. I'm actually going to have a bit of a time jump now to only a few weeks ago. I of course now have all the latest mods and assets at my disposal. So let me now show you some of these new custom assets, which are available right now on PDX Mods, and we'll also start to integrate them into Venice. So first up is my Tire Marks decal pack. Now this comes with both individual pieces, pre-made intersections and donut skid marks. So the intersections are designed to fit crossroads and T-junctions for both 1, 2 and 3 lane roads. And honestly, for me, this might be my favourite pack from all of the new ones. It adds so much to the realism of our roads. So next up we have 2 poster and billboard packs, the first being the Big Brands decal pack, and there's a whole bunch there in different sizes for some of the most well-known brands in the world. And then another pack for 2024 box office movie posters. Of course, we're in LA, the home of Hollywood, so you know it made sense to create some movie posters. So go and check them all out on PDX Mods and get them into your city. And while you're there, don't forget to give me a like and follow, and like the assets if you enjoy. So for the final part of the episode, you know this is a Sully build, so of course we need to do something a bit more special and go heavier on the detailing. So this street in Venice is called Wynwood Road, and on the end of the street we have the famous Venice sign, which we will try and replicate. This street is like the main entrance to the beach, and features a few hotels and a bunch of restaurants with outdoor seating, so we're going to attempt to try and build this all in and have a few unique buildings heading towards the beach. So we're going to start off with this little restaurant I had on the corner. I actually quite like this, but I think we can do a little better. So we're going to turn this into a fatty bite using the Recolor mod and some custom signage. It amazes me just how powerful the Recolor mod is. It can transform almost any building. You know, the mod really has been such a game changer for this build. So I think we're just going to go ahead and delete everything on the street and just start again. So in real life Venice, there's actually a hotel on the corner of this street. It also has a pretty cool mural on the side of the building, so I think we can replicate this pretty well. There were a bunch of cool mural packs which came out on PDX Mods a few months ago by Trist1322. And there's some really cool stuff in there, including this art of, you know, people's heads. We took a bit of shuffling around, but I think it looks pretty awesome. We're also going to use some of the vanilla signage for the Sleep Easy Mattel. The neon signs especially give it an awesome look and feel unique. Maybe a little rough, like this wouldn't be an expensive place to stay at all. The street also has diagonal parking. Now we don't have the roads for this, but I think we can use some decals with the alley road and try and build this in ourselves. We'll also start to build in some of these outdoor dining areas along the side of the road. Now, like most people recently, over the last month or so, this city has been hit with the homeless bug. You know, where I'm getting lots of people just hanging around and they're like stuck, they can't move. So I was just detailing away and I noticed this sim just flat out laying on the sidewalk. Poor Jeanette Morgan has somehow got stuck like this. So let's build out a scene around her. You know, this will help tell a part of the story of Venice. This junk car prop will work pretty well. I think we can hide some fire inside the car too. There's also a chimney prop which has some cool smoke special effects coming out the top. Next up, let's try and create the Venice sign. Now, I know we're not going to be able to match it perfectly with all the tools we have at the moment, but I think we can still do something pretty cool. I do try a few different options at first, but end up settling on these EU wall props, which have a few variations in sizes. So I can then build out the letters for Venice using the walls for the sign. That's a perfect fit too for the space. I also find these wall lights, which I add to all of the letters, it helps make it feel a bit more special. The Venice sign and the whole street just came out super cool. From this car accident scene with poor Jeanette Morgan. She is our first followed citizen in the city now, and you know, we may come back and check on her in the future. So yeah, that's going to be it for episode 1. Next week we're going to start to build out the star attraction, the beach itself, and all of the cool little spots. I'm just so excited to show you that, so make sure you subscribe and turn on notifications to hear first about episode 2. So if you enjoyed the episode, please give it a like and let me know what you thought down in the comments below. So thanks again for watching, and I'll catch you all again in the next video.